All right, I'm gonna try it, I guess. It's not look good. All right, we're gonna try to go live here for I don't know the eighth time tonight and see if this works any better. I don't know if it really will or not, but you guys let me know if you can hear us okay, and if you have any sort of audio or buffering type of issues. Can you guys hear me and Dave? Dave, go ahead and talk for me, please. All right, so let me know, you guys. I appreciate you sticking around. Who have so far? I know it's been, fortunately, a little technology challenge today. Can you guys hear us? Jonathan says yes. Anybody else? Any buffering issues? Buffering issues right now. Cannot hear Dave. Can't hear Dave though. Yeah, I don't know why I can't hear you. There's no reason. There's no reason I can turn this on. I guess Dave, go ahead and talk for me again, please.
Testing 1 1 1. Hello. Testing. Can you hear me?
Well, we're just full of surprises tonight here with the settings. And yeah, buffering again. YouTube tells me my stream health is good, but I don't think this is good. Um, Dave's good to go. Does Dave? So Dave sounds okay. Like no robotic
Testing
Dave.
1. Testing 1 2 3.
Dave's good now. All right. I don't understand. I didn't change any settings with Dave, and it's fine. All right. We'll try to get a couple more questions, and if the buffering kind of doesn't work, we'll figure this out here for the next stream for sure. Because I'm probably getting some buffering as well. Mutated Genome says best center available round one, best offensive tackle round two, best running back round three. Would that work? It sounds good. It sounds neat and clean and all that, but I just think you have to look at the board more than really just kind of this idealized version of what the Steelers are going to do there at pick 24 and through the rest of the draft for that matter.
Yeah, in
Um,
a perfect. You can't obviously can't plan that out, but I don't think you get any arguments from a lot of people. I think there's really only just a couple of centers that warrant getting taken in the first round there. Maybe Dickerson, depending on the health, obviously, and maybe a guy like Creed Humphrey. To me, that's about it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's see here. Ultimate Elite 11 says Trey Sermon would be there and he's better than everyone we have. Yeah, it just the problem is if you don't go running back early, you kind of really hanging your hopes on Sermon being the guy and being available. And it's just the later you go into the draft, the less certain you can be about somebody being available or not being available.
What's that say? Think Dave is slurping some. What's that, beer or something?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't.
Let's
I don't drink, people. I haven't drank in years.
Pinot Bourdon says if we take Jenkins in the first and Dickerson is there in the second, would you double up? Sure. I mean, it's not like it's the same position as a center and a right or left tackle, so that's not doubling up in the sense of two tackles or two centers or something like that. So I'd be fine with that, assuming that you've cleared Dickerson medically.
Yeah, when we were talking about doubling up, obviously I meant the same position. You're not gonna, you're obviously okay to go tackle in a center or something like that. I thought the question earlier that we had gotten was more about doubling up, like an outside linebacker or cornerback or something
Hmm.
like that. Obviously you can see this team drafting both a center and a tackle potentially in this draft.
Right. Let's see. Yeah, Jonathan, apologize for first time here. Hopefully things will be better the next stream. Mike says, guys, as we stand here today and assuming all are medically cleared, who's both your top five running backs and centers as fits for the Steelers? I don't have a concrete top five there. In terms of center, I would go Humphrey, Dickerson, and then Miners, probably followed by maybe Myers. And then I like Trey Hill out of Georgia as well. Running back, I'd probably go Harris, Williams. From there, it gets kind of muddy. I might even go Sermon at number three, jumping ETN, but I don't know exactly what I have behind Najee Harris and Javante Williams.
Yeah, I'd probably go, and we're talking more every down kind of backs there. Apologies to Michael Carter, but I would go somewhere, Najee, Travis Etienne, Javante Williams, and then Sermon. I think top four. If you get into top five, I don't know. Watch a little bit of. I think multiple. Yeah, I think you could go multiple different ways that way. So one of those top four, I got a strong feeling one of those top four, is going to end up being a Steelers pick this year.
Yeah, I do too. So just to remind you guys, want to ask any questions, feel free to do so in the chat. Micah Deslo says, should we rank things 1 through 23 on the podcast? I don't know if we'll be doing that. We will be talking about the defensive preview for the draft on Wednesday's show. Ryan Mully with a straightforward question. Who do you think they will go for the first round? My mock draft today was Najee Harris. Dave, I know we'll kind of keep yours under wraps here until Wednesday when you post your mock draft, but Harris certainly probably the favorite right now to be the guy.
Yeah, look, I mean, he's you can't do a mock draft without considering Najee Harris as the potential pick at 24. You know, I the three people I have circled as being the pick. One of them is Najee Harris, and the other two are offensive players as well too. So look, I don't think you have to be a rocket surgeon to figure out which way I'm leaning here.
Yeah, but be sure to check out Dave's mock draft, which will drop on Wednesday morning. Tomorrow will be Tom Mead's mock draft and also Scott Pavel's final big board, which are always just great, collections, basically almost a novel of draft information for you guys to check out. All right, let's see here. Last Stylebender says, do you think they'll go tight end with one of the fourth round picks, or do they think Kevin Rader can be the replacement for McDonald? I hope they draft tight end. I think the fourth round makes sense with one of those selections. I think they like Raider, but enough to replace McDonald's probably a bit too strong there. So hopefully they draft somebody. I think Pat Frymuth at 55 has a really good chance of happening. We'll see. I didn't mock it, but I came pretty close to mocking Frymuth to pick number 55.
Well, they better draft a tight end this time around. If you look at the roster and the depth chart in particular, and apologies to Zach Gentry. I mean, uh, and look, I was one of the ones that was kind of high-ish, I guess, on Raider, at least getting a chance to show his wares last year during the season. But even I'm not naive enough to think that Kevin Raider is going to be has a potential to be the number two and play 500 snaps in 2021. You need some pedigree there. You really do. And the Steelers, like Alex has called for this several years now. uh you know you need to start investing a little bit more than a fifth round draft pick in a tight end. And I got a funny feeling that they will do that this year. If they don't, then man, it's hard to imagine what some of these 12 part. You're gonna have a lot of Joe Haig on the field
hmm
there, and if that's the case, then you're raising your hand up and saying you don't have to cover him. We're not gonna pass to our second tight end there. You're really tipping your hand in a lot of that stuff. So if you can't get a tight end this draft, maybe you go beg Jesse James to come back, and maybe pay him a little bit more than minimum. To me, that's really the only couple ways you can go. Ideally, ideally I'd like to see Tommy Tremble in the fourth round, third or fourth round. But I really think this team likes Pat Fryermuth, and I would not be shocked to see him draft Fryermuth in the second round.
Same here. And yeah, Andreas Morales had the question of can we see a Jesse James reunion? I think that's possible, but I think obviously probably both sides are waiting until after the draft, after the comp formula period, and after the draft has occurred. So James would know exactly how the depth chart looks. So that could happen, but it certainly would not happen until after the draft. Let's see here. Donald Nolan had a good question. Says thoughts on Jalen Mayfield as a possible second or third round option for the Steelers at tackle if Tevin Jenkins is not available. Yeah, I think Mayfield, even at 55, makes a lot of sense. Still, 20 years old, pretty young, pretty raw, but a nasty kind of demeanor in the run game. Steelers at his pro day, they had assistant offensive line coach Chris Morgan there, I believe. So that kind of checks a lot of boxes. Probably not the guy at 24. I know he was mocked during the NFL Network mock draft yesterday. I think that's probably around too early, but at 55, I think that's entirely possible.
Man, you get a feeling he's going to have to kick inside.
I don't. What gives you that feeling?
I mean, a little bit underside, not the most athletic specimen out there trying to get off the ball and get to the edge and all,
hmm
and obviously didn't test great. Is that just a testing thing? I mean, his,
Right.
his tape was okay. If I never saw his testing scores, I'd say probably a second or third round tackle. Definitely not a first round tackle in my opinion, based on what we see in this year's class. Just kind of wonder maybe if he's kind of one of those ones that you might have better success when he's inside.
Yeah, maybe, but I think you try him at tackle at least at first. He's still only 20, so I think he's still growing and developing both physically and mentally. But at 55, if he's kind of your guy, then I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Wasn't
You,
he more on the right side too, or no?
yeah, I think he was almost a little bit of left tackle. I think early in his career, but then ended up playing on the right side more often than not.
Here's something too that would probably shy him away from the Steelers. 18 games played at Michigan, 15 starts. That's not a
Right.
lot of tape,
No, it's not. But he is Big Ten, which fulfills your Big Ten requirement for your mock drafts.
right? That's not a lot of tape. I can
Hmm.
almost guarantee you Mayfield won't be the fifth pick in the first round.
Yeah, not in the first round, but I think second round on, I think maybe the doors start opening a little bit.
Even that low, I mean, they like guys with a little bit of tape underneath their belt, and that's not a lot of tape, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point. Mutated genome. Do they need to take a tight end early in this draft to replace Ebron next season? With the understanding it takes a year for a tight end to get up to speed. I mean, that's the case that I've always made, but they haven't done it. So again, that's why I think Frymuth is in play at 55. And then Cobra talking about how this class isn't super deep at tight end, which he's right, it isn't. So if you want to get that tight end, that potential starter, probably Pat Frymuth, Tommy Trumbull in the third round, or you're kind of punting and looking for that guy this time next year.
I think you draft a tight end because you need a tight end,
Yeah,
not
that's also
because
true.
of how long it can maybe take to get one up to speed because of Ebron or any of that. You take one because you need another tight end. Especially if you're going to run some 12 personnel this year. And look, I mean, how much do you want Eric Ebron out on the field? You know, uh, I understand there are going to be certain situations on that, but if you're going to want to try to run out of 12 personnel, you're going to need some help outside of Joe Haig. And here's to Joe Haig not having to play 400 snaps as a tackle eligible this year. So man, I'm with Alex on this one. You got to be banging the table for a tight end in this draft, and not now. When I mean, and I'm not talking about fifth round tight end or sixth round.
Hmm.
They obviously don't have a fifth round pick right now this year, so it's either in the first four rounds, or you might as well not draft one at all, in my opinion, unless you can get a guy like, I don't know, the Boise State kid or something like that a little bit later there, or the Ohio State kid. But you get what you get that late in drafts anyway, and that seems to be a part of the Steelers' problem as of late.
Sure, there's value in taking one now for the here and now because it is indeed, and there's value in the long term implications because you don't know the future of Eric Ebron and the starter, next year at the position. So there's value in doing it now and also for 2022. Russ Obenstein says, "Do you guys think Najee is going to be there?" I think he is. Obviously, I mocked it, so I believe that he will be, but I can't guarantee it. Miami at 18, even the Jets at 23 could be lurkers to taking a Najee Harris, but ultimately I mocked it, so I guess yes, I do believe he'll be there.
I mean, all it takes is one team. I mean, the best I can see, there's a probably a 75%, 80% chance that he should be there. I mean, as Alex said, probably Miami would be the only one, about six spots later or earlier there to maybe draft one there. But I like the chances of Najee being on the board there.
Yeah, so I would say for the Steelers, the draft for them starts at 18. What does Miami do with that second pick? They're at six. They're going to get probably receiver, and do they want to go running back and take Najee Harris to his old teammate at 18? That's probably where Steeler fans should really start looking and seeing how this draft is going to play out for Pittsburgh. Jonathan asks, "What is the highest you would pick cornerback slash special teams player Avery Williams from Idaho State? He's from Boise State, but close enough. I would. I don't know. I would take him in the sixth round. I think he's a lot of fun, and he's got a ton of special teams value. But would Tomlin ever use him as a return in the return game, being a cornerback?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, he's the kind of guy that we've learned to appreciate over years because we appreciate special teams play. He's a jack of all trades, master of none. So those kind of guys, depending on value, can sometimes go undrafted too. So that
Hmm.
that 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 might be something to watch. So, uh,
I do think he gets drafted because the depth in this draft overall is just so shallow.
yeah, I mean, later sixth, early seventh round. Look, those are fun guys to play with for sure, right? I mean, this is a kid too that's played a little bit of corner. I think he's played a little bit of running back. I mean, and obviously you would think can run down some tackles on special teams as well too. So Give me those guys that do anything it takes to get on the field, and I'll probably find a way to get him on the field. We'll see what the Steelers think in that, but I'm definitely going to be interested to see where he lands.
Yeah, just have Danny Smith tell Tomlin that Avery Williams is a running back, so then he'll actually use him in the kick and punt return game. But I like that guy overall a lot. We had a good time talking to him at the Boise State's pro day press conference. Rob James asked, and also Russ asked, if I had a mock draft go up today. I did. You can find it on Steelers Depot. I would show you, but the stream might crash. So just go look at Steelers Depot, and you can see my mock draft. It is sticky to the top of the page. Let's see. Rob James asked thoughts on Dylan Moses, upside fourth round eventual running mate for Bush. Yeah, I get that. Alabama seems like they have a talented, often injured off ball linebacker every single season somehow, and Moses is just this year's version of it. I probably would like a Baron Browning more than I would a Dylan Moses, but yeah, I get where you're coming from with that question, Rob.
Yeah, I haven't watched much of Moses overall, but I think the measurables just on the height, weight, kind of issue. I don't think he did anything at his pro day, did he?
No, he did not work out.
Right. So that's going to be not having anything to go on there. Probably later than fourth round, though, right?
I could see
I don't know.
someone. I could see third, fourth round as a
Really?
flyer. Yeah, I mean it's hard to predict, but third, fourth round makes sense there. Ultimate Elite 11 says, "Do you think this is the year we finally skip drafting a receiver? I can't remember the last time we didn't. We have so many other needs, but Colbert loves picking them. When was the last time? I've done it what 5 times under Colbert? I think 3 or 5 times.
Ain't many times that they've exited since Colbert exited a draft since Colbert where they didn't draft a wide receiver,
Was
right?
that
So is that like three other
2010?
times? I mean, not
Well,
many at all.
yeah. When was the last
Period.
time they didn't do it? The year after they took Sanders and AB, so that would be
That would have been
2020.
2011, right?
That they took AB and Sanders, or the year
No,
after?
they took AB and Sanders in ten
Okay, in
in
10.
10, wasn't it?
So it would have been 11 they didn't take a receiver. I think that was the last time they didn't take one. I think. It's only happened a couple times, but I know they didn't do it the year after they took started building the Young Money crew. So that might have been the last time because I can't think of another time where they didn't from 2012 to present day.
Yeah, they did not take one in 2011.
Okay, and they've taken a receiver every year since. Are you able to kind of fly through the draft history there?
Oh, yeah, I mean, let's see, 2012 was Tony Clemens, right?
Mm, Tony Clemens, there's a name. Colorado.
Marcus Wheaton in 2013 and Justin Brown in 2013, Martavis Bryant in 14, Sammy Coates in 2015. Yeah, they've taken one. I guess you quantified Demarcus Ayers as a wide receiver
Mm-hmm.
in 2016. I would think if they take a receiver this year, it would be late and it would be one of those kind of Schwartz type receivers. They're gonna draft Schwartz out of Auburn
Yeah.
just to spite me. I have a feeling I think they really like that kid a lot more than I obviously like him there. I just didn't get it with him on the tape. But yeah, look, I mean, you could. There's not gonna be. I don't think there's gonna be a wide receiver in my final mock draft because it's hard to put one in there.
Yeah, I think if it does happen, sixth, seventh round, and it could be anybody. It could be X slot Z, but I think maybe one of those Z type guys to maybe replace James Washington next season would be the way to go. And Austin Watkins or Trevon Grimes, Terry from Florida State, someone like that.
I think they give themselves a chance with a sparky kid, though. Probably a little bit of spark to him.
Hmm.
Probably more athlete than wide receiver, if that makes sense.
Last style banner says, "Will we re-sign Jordan Dangerfield soon, Alex?" I don't know. When I talked to Dangerfield, he said he had spoken with the team. There were other teams that had shown interest as well, but nothing has obviously happened. I get the sense that they don't really plan on it. Maybe right before camp or something like that, an injury or whatever the case is. But it doesn't sound like it right now, which kind of sucks. But just the way things seem to be going right now.
Yeah, obviously, if they do, it'd be after the draft. It'd be a veteran benefit contract. Who knows? He's probably holding out for some sort of signing bonus. But at this point, if anybody puts a contract in front of him, he ought to think about signing it, right?
Hmm.
At this point of the offseason here, it's hard to imagine Jordan Dangerfield signing for more or much more than a minimum. And look for to be a minimum to be a veteran signing benefit contract. The most you can get as a signing bonus is $137,500 there too. So. Unless he's got a team throwing that at him right now, which I kind of doubt he does. Uh, you might want to get a team willing to take you to camp at at this point, and no better team than with the Steelers. And look, he keeps his body in good condition, and
Hmm.
we know how attrition plays a plays a role in this thing. So if you come to camp and you keep yourself on the field, and you're able to impress Danny Smith, he'd probably still have a pretty daggum good shot at making a 53-man roster.
Yeah, that's how he made it in the first place, just by hanging around, sticking around, staying healthy, battling, and finally earning his keep. So we'll see what happens. Have a really generous super chat here from Vegas TJG. Is $20 super chat. Thank you so much, and even more
Thank you.
appreciated in this just kind of Scotch tape MacGyver together live stream. So again, I apologize very much for the last one before the draft. The stream seemed to calm down a little bit, but hopefully we'll get things figured out for next time. Dave, we got a couple more questions to get to. I know it's already 8 o'clock. We usually end now. Do you want to stick around longer? If you need to take off and do other, depot related stuff, that's fine. So whatever you want to do is cool with me.
I'll stick around. Go ahead and
All
finish
right.
these out.
I still got a couple I want to get to since we were delayed today. And again, I apologize for that. Lay K47 in all caps says Zaven is the only option that makes sense. Talking about Zaven Collins. So we know who's on his draft board. I don't think he's the only option that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think that's the only option, and quite honestly, it'd be a little bit of a surprise too because Mike Tomlin and Kevin Colbert were not at their pro day. Tulsa's not a Power Five school, so look, I'm not saying it won't happen, but if it does happen, there'll be a couple of posts dedicated to it up on Steelers Depot because it's such a kind of a rare feat. You got to go all the way back to 2004 with Ben Roethlisberger to find the last time that a non-Power Five kid was drafted in the first round, and you got to go all the way back to 2009 to find a first round draft pick that did not include Kevin Colbert or Mike Tomlin being present at the pro day there. So that's a long string. Uh, you know, streaks were made to be broken, I suppose, but I would bet against. I would bet against that happening this year. We'll see.
Mike Odessa with a good question. Would you rather have the fifth round pick this year or Chris Wormley? He says he's happy with Wormley again. Yeah, knowing that you re signed him and the depth in this class not being great, I will take Chris Wormley over the fifth round pick.
Yeah, he owes the Steelers some snaps. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I've looked at it all off season. Is they traded a fifth round pick for him. They paid him over $2 million because of that higher tender amount that he was under. They didn't near get their money's worth out of Wormley. And look, I thought once he kind of come back and recovered, from that injury and all, and kind of got on the same page as everybody, I thought he played pretty decent football in a couple of those games there. Now, obviously, he didn't play a lot, but. Give me somebody experienced in there. So as we sit right now, I'd rather take him for one more year than to have the fifth round pick right now.
Vegas did have a question right before sending in the super chat asking who could we realistically trade up for. I don't think it's really anybody. Quote said it was quote very doubtful they would trade up. I mean, you could say Najee Harris. You could try to make an argument for Darisaw, or I guess you could stretch it and say I don't know Caleb Farley or something like that. But I just think they're going to stand pat at 24.
Unless it's a quarterback, I can't. And Kevin Colbert said as much today,
Hmm.
and pretty much for the whole draft, he pretty much put the kibosh on trading up. Period. But if they were, and that's really loose, maybe there. If they were to do that, it would be. I would think they're going up to get a quarterback, but obviously, I don't think that's going to happen.
We'll see where Justin Fields falls. Adam Schefter says 95% chance he's past pick 7. So whatever that means, we'll find out soon. John Titler says, does Ohio State guard Wyatt Davis have any value at center? I don't believe he's played center before. Probably going to be a guard only, John.
I think that's the case as well too.
Paul Brown, what do you make of Dickerson posting a draft party for day 2? Yeah, interesting. I saw Dr. Mel find that and tweet that out. Does that mean that he believes he's going on day 2 of the draft? It kind of felt like it, but who knows?
I just think it's something somebody set up for him, and he's helping promote. I
Yeah.
think and that's you would think a kid that smart, that good a character would know better than to pigeonhole himself like that.
Hmm.
I just think somebody set that up for him, and he's helping promote it.
Patrick Donovan, what are y'all thoughts on Kerry Vincent Jr.? That is the corner from LSU, real good track guy, plays to his time speed. I know Jonathan from the site is really high on him, but he did not play in 2020, so he's one of those opt-out guys where the Steelers take him, they would. It's not that they wouldn't draft an opt-out player, but would he get dinged for that? I think he would as well. So possibly, but I don't know how much the opt out is going to hurt him.
I would think they're more apt to draft a guy later in the draft that did not play in 2020 than they were earlier in the draft. And that might hurt Quinn Miner's chances a little bit there. So, but I mocked him. I think in the sixth round in my first mock draft. He's a guy you have to think that if he slides that late, that the Steelers might have interest in. He's got the football, you got the NFL bloodline, got the sparkiness to him. It's definitely a position, being able to play inside some that the Steelers could use. So I think there's a chance, maybe.
Robert John asked, "Do you see Colbert staying on through Coach T's extension? I don't think Colbert knows exactly when he's going to retire, but is Colbert going to be here in 2024? I kind of doubt it."
I don't
All
know.
right,
Well,
you
we'll
don't know.
see.
We'll see. Let's see. Couple more questions here. Wade or Tremble? He says Dwayne Wade or Tommy Tremble. I don't know if you mean Sean Wade. I'm not sure what the comparison is here, there, Daniel. Thoughts on Tutu Atwell? He's just so skinny. He's like 155 pounds. I mean, there's a couple guys that I guess have made it in the NFL at that size, but I don't think he's probably going to be another one of them.
Who's that?
Tutu Atwell from, where's he from? Louisville, I believe. 155-pound receiver.
Yeah, I haven't. I can't say that I've watched any of
Yeah,
him.
but 155 on that scale is pretty light. Let's see here. A couple more if there's any more questions left. Again, I appreciate you guys being here and kind of sticking out all the tech issues. Sean Wade at nickel and third safety. Does he last till the first fourth round pick? Yeah, I think Wade. I almost went Sean Wade in my mock draft. I think Scott Pavel's been talking him up for a while. And I think that makes a lot of sense there. So I could definitely see Sean Wade being the pick, even at 87. But I think 128 or 140 would be just fine for him.
He can play inside, right?
Yeah, he actually is better inside. He played outside this past year at Ohio
Yeah.
State, had an injury, a turf toe problem, and really did not play well. But he showed his best home is in the slot. Let's see. Jonathan Mason, anything to glean from today's presser? Sounds like they're comfortable with the center and corner depth, thinking O line and running back are the first two picks. Not a lot to glean, Jonathan. I think Colbert's most honest comment was in that he wouldn't trade up or is very doubtful to trade up. So, other than that, I think it was typical Colbert's speak. But the trade up was kind of the most notable comment he made today, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think you can read anything way too deep, other than talking about the tight end depth overall not being great, the defensive line depth not being really not being great in this year's draft. But I think a lot of us already had a good idea about that heading into this draft. Before Colbert had told us that kind of stuff. Look, I think we go through this every year. There's little bits and pieces maybe that you can get out of these, him talking about the trade up, trade down scenarios and all like that. And it's usually the same thing year in, year out about how they just mock draft themselves. And he's not going to give away any pertinent information. Kevin Colbert's done this way too long to give out anything. Now, maybe after the fact, we'll be able to go back and say, aha,
Hmm.
but usually not beforehand in it. I think just if you're a good fan overall, you got a good sense of what the team needs and all like that. It's not hard to figure out that this, good possibility going running back in the first couple rounds. Obviously, a good possibility of going offensive line in the first couple of rounds, and maybe a tight end at some point in the first four picks. I mean, I don't think we need Kevin Colbert to drop us hints on any of that. The only thing I will say about the whole process here is, man, it looks so clean. It looks so cut and dry, almost too easy, cut and dry to think Najee Harris is the pick. It looks too easy that it scares me that
Hmm.
that might not be. I'm one of those that run around with a tinfoil hat on, looking for reasons not to believe something like this. So that's the only thing that's kind of stuck out to me, I think, throughout this pre-draft process is, man, it sure looks like it's easy to draw a point from the Senior Bowl to draft day when Najee Harris, and wipe your hands and be done with it.
Last question for today's live stream will come from Ashish Bahal. Who are some mid-round centers that could go for that? They could go for that would fit well. Um, I think the middle of the center class is kind of where there's strength at the top and some decent depth for rounds 2, 3, and then some guys late round I would take flyers on. Kind of that fourth, fifth round is a gray area. I like Trey Hill from Georgia. There's Jimmy Morrissey out of Pitt, a local guy. Drake Jackson from Kentucky, more of a zone scheme kind of guy if they want to transition to that. But I don't have a lot of the fourth, fifth round type of centers that would even really interest me a whole lot. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I got a fascination with Hainsey.
Yeah, that's true. I guess Hainsey in the fourth would be in terms of the conversion. He's not a true center, but
Right,
yeah,
right.
but
Not,
but
yeah,
converting.
obviously not a true center, but I think there was enough there at the Senior Bowl to get a little bit excited about. And I think he's just a good kid. I like my chances of making a conversion out of him more so than most. Now, obviously, you got to put a price tag when when you be willing to do that. So uh, I think fourth round would probably be the round that you would do something like that with him on.
And Mike made a good point. Kendrick Green from Illinois. I always think of him as a guard, but he could play center as well, and so that would probably be someone that could be of interest to them in the fourth round. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's stream. Again, I very much apologize for all the tech issues. I think things are better now, so hopefully for the next stream we won't have those problems, but I'll troubleshoot things. And I don't know, we'll do one for next Monday or the Monday after. We're scheduled for 2 Mondays from now, but with the draft, concluding, we'll kind of see how things go. But I'll certainly have a lot of draft reaction and analysis and videos for this channel, and can't wait to see who they draft and to be able to discuss it with you guys. So thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Dave, as always, thank you for sticking through this mess that was today's live stream with me as well.
All right, I'll put the extra 15 minutes on. I'll dock you a few demerits and bill you for the extra
All
12
right.
minutes here. No, in all seriousness, thank you everybody for sticking around. If you did, sorry about the technical difficulties. We'll make sure we get it straightened out by the next time. We will have way too much content. If you like content, don't come to Steelers Depot this next week. All right, plain and simple. Peace and love, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate all the support, and we will talk to you soon. Enjoy the draft.